نستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا، من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، واشهد ان لا اله الا الله واشهد ان محمدا رسول الله. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله وبركاته. Brother Mohammed first, and Sunnahfollowers and everybody watching the most important topic actually. And that's why I prepared something for Brother Mohammed. That's why you're more professional.
You did chat GDP.
Yeah.
You look me. I said, this is the Sheikh talking.
Yeah, but let's start, brother and sister. May Allah guide us to this topic. Why everybody needs help, and actually in Surah Al-Fatiha, everybody in Farida 17 times we recite إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Ya Rabbi, worship you, and we need help. We need help, and everybody needs help.
Always.
And sometimes we need help, not only from Muslim, but non-Muslim. When we live in non-Muslim country, we need help from each other. And also, Allah Azza wa Jal ordered us, Allah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, second ayah, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلى الْإِثْمِ. Help each other with the fear of Allah, and do not help each other with the mischief. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, you said help in the Western world, but we're also talking about everywhere.
Indeed.
I mean, even in Africa, and in the Middle East and in Asia, like everybody there has been touched by social media, by the internet, by by everything. I mean, it's not a secret anywhere.
Yeah. So, Brother Muhammad, yes, alhamdulillah. So I wanted to actually, I had to prepare something. Now, a lot of need, for example, me as an imam, when I speak about our kids need psychiatrists, psychology, treatment, especially with our kids, even not our kids, even in the community, male and females, husband, wife, about we need that kind of help, but we feel shy. Actually, I don't want to speak countries, but some culture.
Yeah, culture. That's the word.
Culture.
Yeah.
Sheikh Ibrahim, do not speak about this, please. Yeah. But I believe those people would. Oh, please forgive me, brother and sister, whoever listen to us, Sunnahfollowers, and all over the world watching us. I believe those people need treatment. With all my respect.
Well, you have to remember, when we're talking about mental health, substance abuse, and when we use those, depression, anxiety, suicide, self-harm, when we use those words, it becomes very like, no, not in our masjid, not in our community, we don't want to bring that stuff, because I've heard a lot of times where the imams will say, well, if you talk about it, it's going to happen.
That's why I do not shut my mouth. Some imams, they're afraid.
They're afraid
because they're telling me. Allah is the provider. I don't care about tomorrow. No, but let's speak about this.
It's amazing because even here, down here in South Florida, I don't know how it is in your guys in other countries, but I know down here there's such a.
I mean, Florida in America,
but I would say
Sunnahfollowers all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how other people are. Maybe there's some masajid out there that are getting into the understanding, and they're becoming more understanding, open towards mental health. Talking about these things, because it's amazing, because you'll see some of these imams who have children, and 2 of their children are using drugs, and they need help.
Trust me, I know that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying, like, from seeing, going to these different masajid and explain to them what I do and how I can help and how I want to just give back and I want to help the community. Let me go in the masjids on the family nights and talk about these kind of stuff. Brother, we don't have that issue here. Well, I'm pretty sure you have an issue here. You just don't want to see it.
It's a lot, actually.
Yeah, they don't want to see it. They don't want to see it because they know that they're afraid of the stigma that it brings to that community.
But I believe those people, their heart is blind. Not their eyes, their heart.
Their heart, yeah, because they see it. They know it's there.
Yes.
I mean, you can't hide drugs. You can't hide somebody using drugs.
Yes.
I mean, you can't hide somebody who needs help, who's bipolar, who has depression, who has anxiety. You can't hide those things for so long. And it's when you see these signs as an imam or as a leader, as a board member, that should kind of give you a heads up and say, hey, maybe we should have a talk at the masjid. Maybe we should have a professional come into the masjid and address these situations. Because I know a lot of parents, just from working, doing for such a long time, they don't want their kids to be looked at like they're crazy or like their kid has a problem. And some of the stuff I've heard throughout my years of doing this is, brother, if people found out that my son used to be a drug addict, he's never going to get married. If people found out that my daughter has depression, nobody's going to want to marry her. Like, these are the questions, these are the things that I hear. But then I have to go back and say, well, don't you want your son or your daughter to be better and healthier? And, of course. And then at the end of the day, what will Allah, man? You just, as long as you take care of yourself, Allah will kind of put the rest into place. But Allah doesn't help those people that don't help themselves first.
Hold on, is a sickness, Brother Muhammad?
What's a sickness?
With this kind of psychological things, is sickness?
It's
define the sickness that I have a liver transplant. That's sickness. I have hepatitis C, that is, I have sickness. That's psychological problem. It's a sickness.
It depends on the person. It depends on how strong it is, how severe it is. It depends. There's a lot of things you gotta look at before you say if it's a sickness, it's an illness, it's a disease, or something temporary, and that could be fixed.
Oh, temporary.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can kind of play into the part. That's why you really need to seek that help.
To seek the help.
Yes.
To
find out
to fix the problem.
To fix the problem. And to find out. Sickness. Because there's plenty of times. How many people do you know that maybe their blood chemistry, and that's why they're feeling down all the time. Maybe they have low iron. Maybe they have this. Maybe they have that. But you're not going to know unless you go get help. You're not going to know what the root issue or the root cause of whatever's happening unless you seek some type of help, right? And so we have this thing in our communities, in all the Muslim communities, where we're afraid to talk about these kinds of issues because we don't want to bring. We feel like we're going to bring those issues into the masjid. They think. They don't know that it's already in the masjid. And if you're not
that sickness with the parents,
with the imams, with the sheikhs, with the
imams, no, I believe the imams innocent. Mm-hmm. They want to speak, but they're afraid of something. I don't want to speak too much.
Yeah,
as an imam,
you gotta be careful with what you say. You don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to be called out for this stuff. But as an imam, you have the right, I would assume, to say that when you're having your Friday lecture, when you're doing the Friday lectures, to say if there's anybody going through something, please see me after the khutbah. Please come see me. Please come. And then as an imam, if I was an imam in a masjid, I would try to secure as many different resources into my community, in my local community.
Yes.
As an imam,
Allah, I love this.
Right, as an imam, you have the responsibility of all the people that come into the masjid. That's your responsibility. That's a big responsibility.
The imam, in your opinion, and I agree, seeking help with who is specialist about this, psychologist, psychiatrist, heart doctor. Yes. The imam has to know the community.
Yes, know your community.
And profession about it. To seek help.
Absolutely.
Okay. That means seeking help is not weakness.
No. See, and that's where I think a lot of the men have this problem. It's a man thing. For some reason, we feel like if we ask for help, or if we need some help, or it's like we're weak, like we don't know what we're doing, or we can't admit that we have a problem, right? Because it's a weakness on our idea. Like we think, okay, if I ask for some help, if I have somebody coming in here to my house and tell me what I'm doing wrong, that's a sign of weakness. But that's the opposite. You know how strong a person has to be to ask for help?
Allah, I love this, Brother Muhammad.
So kind of love that. And I try to explain to them, like, it's if you have a heart problem, where do you go? Do you go talk to the dentist?
No, go to the heart doctor.
Go to the heart doctor. Yeah. If you have a dental problem, where do you go? You go talk to the dentist. If you have a family problem, if you have a psychological problem, same thing. You go to the right person.
But they are denying we have psychological problem. They deny that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again,
actually the parents.
I
didn't know the parents, but the kids, their kids, they didn't know we have this problem. But the question here, we know that the weakness, but how to answer those parents, or me, how to give me an answer to fix this problem with the weakness, with the psychological problem.
Well, the idea of a weakness. Oh. It's not a weakness. It's the idea that it is a weakness. And so my theory is, and my thought process is, I think the more we talk about it, the more easier it's going to be for the parents to start to know and start to see the things that's happening in their houses. Right? We have a problem. Yes. Like, we don't know that there's a problem in our house. We don't. We live in it. We see it. We live in it every day. It becomes normal. This is the way it's supposed to be. So you need somebody from the outside to come in and say, this is not normal. You know, brother or sister, this is not wrong. This is not normal. This is the arguing, the fighting, the depression. Your son is cutting themselves. The attention seeking. Your daughter's out there going around with men and doing these things with boys. These things are not normal. And so when you have a third person coming in and kind of shining a little lights on the little things that's happening in the house, that right there gives people the parents, wait, this isn't normal.
I doubt.
And so they'll start to see, they start to ask questions.
But they have to admit
that's the hardest part, is admitting. And again, I know you don't like when I say this, but it's mostly the men.
Oh, no, I'm not trying. Mostly men.
Mostly the men. The men have so many. It's so hard.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, you okay? Alhamdulillah.
No, I agree because I'm an imam. I see a lot of faces. I see men. Oh no. Yeah. But the sister complete opposite.
Complete opposite. And again, because we see it as it's the older generation, right?
The
older generation feels like we never had to tell our kids that we love them. We never had to play with our children. We were a man's responsibility is to work. Khalas.
My father used to say, Ibrahim, love you. Allah love you. Allah بيحبك. I always that. Allah بيحبك, I love you.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you don't have a choice. Right? Yeah. But now it's a different time, right? We're going through a different time where like we've come from no social media, no internet access, keeping everything in the house, right? Because that's how it used to be, right? Everything used to be in the house.
Yeah.
Now everything is outside, everywhere. SubhanAllah, it's a different time.
Actually, ما الفرق بين الحالة التي يستطيع الإنسان التعامل معها بنفسه وبين الحالة التي يحتاج إليها متخصص؟
Oh, okay. So what's the difference between a situation we can handle alone and one that? So we're looking at it like this. There's if you're going through issues, right? Mm. And you're going through mental health issues, substance abuse issues. If your issues are really impacting your life, right? Your life as eating, your sleeping, your work, your family, your parents, your kids. If it's impacting them in a negative way, you can't handle it by yourself. We look at it like this. Okay, there's some things you can handle alone. Right? You can handle, you're sad because your pet died. You're sad because you lost a job. Those things, yes, you can handle. But when it becomes to the point where it starts to impact your family, where it starts to do a negative impact on your lifestyle, on your family style, on the way you're talking to your kids, and the way you're talking to your wife, those are the times when you say to yourself, okay, I think I need some help. I need some help because it's getting worse.
Can you speak to Omar to join us?
We look at helping by ourselves, helping everything, keeping everything to ourselves, and looking on the outside for some help, right? And so once it becomes to the point where you're thinking to yourself, I can't even look at my wife anymore. Or I can't even talk to my children. My children don't even want to talk to me.
In fact, brother, 2-3 days ago, my nephew got killed. And this my nephew, I consider him, I love him even more than even my own son. The only son of my nephew, my sister, nephew. He have daughters, but he wants them. And he have 4 kids, younger one, 1 year old. And he went to get food, AIDS, and he got killed.
Yeah, and we see this a lot.
Honestly, 2 days, I went to the masjid, everybody, I don't even say Assalamu alaikum assalam. My wife, she what's wrong? I can't even speak. Yeah. I can't even sleep or eat. And alhamdulillah, the masjid actually make me and my wife, make me related down a little bit. Plus, I spoke to my sister and his wife and the kids. I feel a little bit. But this can a lot of people.
But that's normal. Like that reaction is normal. That's a normal reaction.
But do I need psychology?
But look now, you've learned it, you've seen it, you felt it, and now you flip back to the 180, right? You know, people say 360. 360 is saying the same thing.
Because you have good company.
You have good company. You have good people. You're being positive around you. So you've established a good network for yourself.
Indeed, actually, the masjid make me. Yeah. The masjid, the people in the masjid, my wife, and may Allah bless her with that. My kids, people, and the kids of the Shaykh, my nephew. I feel elated.
Yeah, because see, and that's the thing we talk about a lot here is networking, right? Understanding who in your community can you come to, right? And as an imam and even as a board member, I would want to know who my people are in the masjid, who are coming, right? When you're on Friday prayer, I'll give you an example. Let's talk about Friday prayer. Because Friday prayer is all the men go to. How many people do you see coming in with different uniforms on, nursing outfits on, dental outfits?
Yes.
You know? So you as an imam, you see these things, these people coming, and so you start to ask, okay, what do you do? And that way you start making a list, you know, even on your phone or on a piece of paper. Okay, Brother Mohammed Ziedeh is good at, you know, Sheikh Dremali is a dentist. You start making a list of your congregation, of the people that are coming.
I should. Yeah, I should.
And so then when somebody comes and says, hey, Sheikh, I need a dentist, but I want to stick with a Muslim dentist. I want a good Muslim dentist. Hey, I know this brother here, mashallah, he's a good brother. Here's his contact information. And this is how we kind of build our communities up.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. Okay. So another question here. In Arabic and in English.
Just told me in English. I'll read it for
you. Okay. ما العلامات أو المؤشرات التي تدل على أن الشخص بحاجة إلى تدخل نفسي. You need a psychiatrist.
So there's and so let's go backwards a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. So the signs.
Right?
The signs. That's what we're looking for, right? Mm-hmm. And so for me, when I go into a house, I'm listening, I'm observing, I'm watching, I'm hearing, I'm looking at nonverbals, I'm looking at the eyes, when the reactions to people when they're talking, and so when you do that, you get to see some of the signs that whether these people really need a lot of help or where the help is needed the most, right? And so, as a person, if I'm a guy going through some stuff and I'm acting like I don't have anything wrong with me, if I'm noticing that I'm going through 7 marriages, or I have no friends, or nobody at work wants to talk to me, or I'm always by myself and I can't catch a break, and I see like everything's bad around me, everything's just negative. That's when you start to see, okay, I think I need a little bit of help. I think I need somebody to tell me what I'm doing wrong.
I have to admit that.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to admit that, and it's very hard for anybody, not just men, but a lot of people don't want to admit that they have a problem. Because it shows, again, it goes back to the feeling of
you're right. You're right. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yes,
it's hard, and we have to remember that it's a strength. It's a strength to admit that you got a problem.
But how I will training myself if I have this kind of psychological problem or hardship, can I do to come to Brother Mohammed, to go to my wife, to my sister Layla?
You have to be. Okay, so there's a saying that we say in substance abuse and in mental health.
Okay.
Both. We use this quote that we tell all the patients, the clients, people that I've worked with. You got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Explain.
So you have
I understand. Yeah. Explain.
So being sick and tired of being
sick and tired
of being sick and tired.
Okay.
And so that kind of basically means I'm tired of being sad all the time. I'm tired of being upset all the time. I'm tired of just laying in my bed all the time. I'm tired of being, by myself all the time. I'm tired of just feeling like this all the time.
And then I smoke marijuana.
Yeah, you have to be tired of finding a way to feel happy. And so when you can finally say, if you could finally admit that I'm sick and tired, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you start to see, okay, now I'm going to ask for some help. I need to seek some type of guidance of what's going on in my life.
See, I have to judge myself.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to judge yourself. It's hard to look inside yourself to see if you're doing something wrong.
You know who told us this? Umar ibn Khattab. He said, "Hasibu anfusakum." Judge yourself before Allah will judge us. Yes, I agree with you.
And it's hard. It is really hard.
But how can do it?
It's hard. It's really.
I know hard, but make it easy for me.
It's not. There's no one size fits all for anybody.
There's the solution.
There's the solution. There's the solution is.
But the solution.
Well, the solution is simple. It's just hard to do it.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's very hard.
It is simple but hard.
Anything that you do, anything you go through when it comes to drugs, it comes to mental health, it comes to substance abuse, it comes to internet use, it comes to anything. It comes down to the first step, which is admittance. Once you can admit that there's an issue.
Oh, have to admit?
Yes. Once you can do that, which is the hardest part for anybody to do, then the rest can fall into place.
In fact, what is the easiest things? It's hard for you. It's okay to admit it, but we have to learn here. You know, really, we have to judge myself. I have psychological problem, but sometimes no. Yes. Judge yourself.
And sometimes, I mean, we talk about psychological problems. We talk about mental health. Sometimes, honestly, when I go to these houses, it's not a psychological problem or a drug problem. It's a culture problem that you have to really shine a light on for the parents to see that you guys are living culture lives. You're not living Islamic lives. Because Islam kind of goes for the rest of your life. Like, it doesn't change with time, right? You don't change Islam because now the social media is here. You don't change Islam. What does change is our culture. The culture always is continuously changing.
From different country and different city.
Yes, it changes.
Indeed, I agree with you 100%.
But what's the one thing that stays consistent?
Okay.
It's Islam. Islam stays. So if you just follow the guidance of what Islam teaches, everything else falls into place.
Okay. Now, كيف يعرف الشباب أو الفتاة أنهم يعانون من أزمة نفسية تطلب المساعدة? How?
So I think the young people, the teenagers, the young people, I think because of social media, I think they have a better understanding of the mental health and the substance abuse than the older.
They understand it, but sometimes they have it,
but they don't want to admit it. And that comes again down to the strength and the weakness.
The weakness and the strength for each individual. Every person.
And what's more amazing is it comes to a cultural thing. It comes back to culture, where we don't want to admit that if I tell the sheikh that I have a problem with my son, and then 5 years down the road somebody comes to ask about my son because I'm trying to get him married, the sheikh is going to have to admit that he had a psychological problem 5 years ago, and then that person's not going to want to marry my son. And that's the fear of parents, right? To admit that kind of stuff. But the young people have a better understanding of mental health than the older people do. The problem with the younger people is when they see something on social media or they read too much about a thing, they go to Dr. Google, right? Everything's Dr. Google, Dr. TikTok.
Sheikh Google,
Sheikh Ziedeh. And so they think, oh my gosh, I must be having full-blown anxiety attack, or I'm having manic depression.
I agree.
I think so. They put that stuff in their own head. I had a guy who I was working with who would think of being sick, and he would think, "Oh, my fingers hurt," and he would think about it, and oh my God, this thing on Google says if I have a rash, then I have a problem, and then a rash would come up on his arm, and he would look at his arm and say, "Look, see, I have a rash." Well, no, your mind is playing the games on you because you think about it so much,
and sometimes you think, it becomes a reality.
It becomes a reality.
Reality.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. And I'm all about that. The more you think about it, the closer it gets to you.
Okay. Now, ماذا عن الأطفال والكبار السن؟ هل تظهر عليهم علامات مختلفة؟
So you're talking about children and elderly. And
yes. Elder.
Yeah. So what's funny is they have the same signs.
Same signs.
Almost the same exact signs.
Means kids, adults.
If you become, you went from having friends to hanging out with your family to being alone.
Alone. Oh.
Yeah, so you go backwards. You say, I just want to be alone. If you went from going to the gym and exercising and taking care of yourself to staying at home and not doing anything. Like if you're always constantly talking to family members every single day, you're checking in on your family members as an elderly person, as a grandma and grandpa, you're getting checked on, and you don't pick up the phone anymore. Those are signs. Well, what's wrong with grandma? What's wrong with grandma? Why are they not answering the phone? Same thing happens with the kids. When they don't want to talk anymore. They start to seclude themselves, right, away from everything, or they start to act out a little behavior-wise. Different behaviors start to come up. These are the signs that we look for in kids and in the elderly. Yeah, and the elderly.
So now a parent should suddenly isolate himself.
Yeah, isolation is a big sign for anybody, especially if a person is, there's introverts, there's extroverts, right? A person who likes to be by themselves and a person who likes to be on the outside.
But actually, some kids actually sleep all day long, and the parents wake up for salah and sleep again and sleep again. It means it's a sickness.
It's not. I mean, it depends on there's a whole gambit of different things that can be associated with the sleeping. It could be that they stay up all night long. They could be studying all night long.
Sleep 24 hours. Only get out. The parents actually get up for salah, sleep again.
Well, then there's a problem.
Not eating food.
There's a problem. There's a big problem.
Some kids have this.
Yeah, and that's the thing where you have to say to yourself, I have a problem, or my child has a problem.
Then if I see my child sleep, that continuously, and not even sleep, even if I eat, and sleep again. Yeah. I'm not even taking drugs.
But that sounds more of a chemical problem, a chemistry problem, not a psychological problem. I mean, for elderly people,
for kids.
Yeah, for kids, I'm saying there might be something wrong.
What I'm talking about is really having our communities here. They are now awake.
So you're talking about more or less lack of motivation.
Yeah, exactly.
Lack of
Zero
that's what you're talking
motivation.
about. Yeah. And so when you look at lack of motivation, there's a lot of external factors that go into play. What's going on in the house? Why isn't he motivated? Who's trying to push the guy? Who's motivating the guy? Right. So for me, when I go to the house and I ask the kids, what do you want to do with yourself? Oh, I don't care. I don't want to do anything. And then I ask the dad or the mom, like, what's your goals for your kids? What did you set for your child? I know, just coming from an Arab family, we're supposed to be engineers, doctors, lawyers, something, pharmacists, and so that's like our parents already have these goals set for their kids. You know how it is. That's how we think. We think when we have a kid, that kid's going to be a doctor, that kid's going to be a lawyer. Like we already have that motivation for our children. When you go to these houses and you ask these questions to the parents, what do you want for your kid to be when he grows up? What's your expectation for your child? You know your kids better than the kids know themselves as a parent. Well, I don't care, whatever they want. Well, then now I see where the motivation is.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. There's a lack of motivation right there. Whatever you want to do, he wants to lay down at home all day.
That means that the parents have to encourage the kids to do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
but there's a way. There's a way of doing it. It's not a matter of yelling and screaming. Man, it's again. It goes to not every kid is the same. Mentality of the parent. Mentality.
The parents. Mentality.
Of course, mentality.
From the parents to the child.
The hardest thing to do as a parent is to admit that there's something going on in your house and to make a change.
That if they want to make change. Some people, they're relaxed. Some actually, yes, some parents let him sleep. Otherwise, they have a problem.
Well, yeah, exactly. There's a problem. If the kid's awake, he's going to give me a hard time. Let him sleep.
That's
a problem.
Probably with
both the parents and the child. And so
I learned actually the parents' problem more than the child.
Yeah, well, because they're the ones who initiated that situation. The parent is the one who creates that situation, right? As a parent, you have the power to control what's going on in the house, the vibe, right? The feeling of the house feels. How many times have you walked into a home to go help somebody and you felt tension, stress, anger?
A lot,
right? A lot of times. So when you walk into those homes, but how many times have you walked into a house and felt like, oh, this feels love, I feel love, I feel the deen, I feel the.
It was the same house you went to right here. When I went 2 weeks ago, the moment I entered the house, I felt something not easy.
Yeah.
And you have maybe the same shit.
Yeah, I had the same feeling. And I said, there's so much anger, right? There's so much anger. There's so much tension. There's so much animosity and that hate for each other. And that's not normal.
In my opinion, if I'm wrong, in my opinion, Brother Muhammad, I believe if it's how the kid, normally they complain, the kids, the boys, the girls, but I believe something, the problem between the parents themselves.
So a lot of times when I get called into houses, it's normally about the child.
Yes.
Right. Normally it's, oh, my kid is this, my kid is that, my kid's doing drugs, my kid's got problems, my kid tried to kill himself, I need help. And when you're sitting in there and you're listening to the way the parents speak to each other, right? Again, my way of doing things is different than your way, different than other people's ways. But I like to observe the non-verbal cues that these people put out when we're talking. There's a reason why I ask certain questions a certain way, and so I can get a certain answer in a different way of hearing. And so when you see the reactions, you can start to say, okay, I get the kid tried to kill himself, or I get the kid is using drugs. But looking at the parents, I don't blame him for being this way. I don't blame the kid for being like this.
But you blame too.
Well, no. What I tell them is there need to be some changes in this house, and the parents. Well, you're not here for us. Well, no. If you want me to help him, we got to fix this first, right? Because we can try to fix this guy and help him out and get him better, but he still has to come back and live here with you guys, right? So one of the biggest issues is when we take, let's say, I'll give you an example of when I used to work in the residential treatment facilities. We would help this kid for 30 days, 60 days, 120 days, even sometimes for 6 months to a year. But then eventually what happens, they have to go back to their homes. And so within time, you start to see, well, we have to add now family therapy. We can't just do individual therapy. We have to do family therapy.
I mean, the whole family together.
Because that's, this is not an Islamic thing. It's not a Muslim thing. This is a psychological counseling therapeutic thing that it's evidence-based. You can't fix the kid unless you fix the family. I agree with you. Unless you plan on taking that kid out of that family for the rest of his life and him living on his own, doing his own thing, that's a different story. And I've done that before. I've done it a couple of times, and you see a kid really flourish and do great things with themselves once you get them away from that environment.
I know some kids like this. Yes, I agree with you. Now, this question here, عندما يقدم لنا أحدهم مساعدة, somebody will give us an help or advice, because advice person advice, لماذا يصعب علينا أحيانا not even accepting the advice or to try to be part of this problem to solve it. For example, when I give nasiha, advice for the people in the masjid about salah, about salah, they looked at me. No, that's why a masjid close to us here, I see a lot of things wrong. I never accepted. Why? Because they were attacked. That's reality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why? Because actually they are seniors, but kids, they accepted like
this. Because you're asking somebody who's been doing the same thing for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. It's for me.
Give advice, not accept the advice.
So here's how you can give somebody some advice or help somebody that doesn't know that they need help, right? For me, it's all about the approach.
The approach.
The tone, what you're saying.
The tone,
how you're saying it, and what you're saying.
Okay.
Right? And so, I'll give you an example.
Please.
When I go to these clients' homes, and I start to realize what the situation is, the first thing I tell the parents, first thing I tell the family members is, I'm going to be very honest, very direct, and you're not going to like some of the stuff I have to say. Are you guys willing to accept this? If not, then I'm not gonna be able to help, because I have to be honest, genuine, and truthful.
Yes.
Right. And so people can gauge the genuinity of a person. You know who's really good at feeling if a person is real or not?
Who?
Kids.
Kids.
Kids can know. Kids will know if you're being sincere.
May I bless your kids, all of you, brother and sister.
But I say that with all the experience I've been doing, 20-something years,
yes.
working with kids, working with adults. Kids really know if you're being real or not. And I've seen it happen in the houses when I'm with the family members. And I've said some stuff to the parents that they didn't like, and the kid will say, Brother Mohammed is correct. Everything he's saying is absolutely right. Why are you guys not taking his advice? A kid would say this, a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old.
I see some kids, yeah.
Because I always tell them, what do I get out of you guys succeeding, or out of if you guys are family? I'm still going to go home to my family and go to work and do my thing.
It's hard to accept advice.
So, as a person, if I know I'm doing something wrong, and a lot of times, people will see me. I'll be on talking to kids, or I'll be doing a training or something. And I'll say some wrong stuff. I'll say something, backwards, and I'll get feedback. Right? I'm getting feedback from people. I'm getting feedback from supervisors, from the people that were in the audience. You get this feedback, and at the beginning, it would hurt. No, who are you telling me? I have a master's degree. I'm educated. But then I had to take a step back and say, okay, let me take the criticism. Let me learn from my ignorance, right? And so that's how I kind of switched my thought process, right? So as an older person, as a dad, as a grandparent, as a mom, as a grandma, flip the script on your thinking process, right? Don't think that people are attacking you when they're trying to help you, right? And if you're that person that's going to help somebody, or you want to try to help somebody, do not, please, and I'm begging everybody here, do not help somebody if you aren't helped yourself.
I have to help myself.
Yes.
To help some others.
Yes.
I agree with you.
I can't
agree.
I can't tell you to go get your teeth fixed if my teeth are crooked. Right?
You always teeth have a problem with it.
No, that's the first thing that comes in my head. Or imagine going to a doctor who's super heavy, super fat, telling you that you need to lose weight. Right? I mean, it's hypocritical.
Yes, I agree.
How am I going to go tell somebody how to raise their kids if all my kids are in jail, or my kids are drug addicts? You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that unless you have yourself situated. You can't come to me and ask me for auto mechanic advice because I don't know anything about cars. You can't come to me and ask me for art issues because I don't know anything about that stuff. So you go to the right person to get the right help.
Yes.
And that person who has those abilities, who has those skills, should be those people that can be helping our community.
Okay. So now go back to the advice. How to advise for people my way or the highway. I know they are wrong, but they always, no. It's my way. It's my way or the highway.
Well,
how to fix this?
Well, the first thing I go through this a lot. The first thing I tell them is, you've been married 15 years. You have 3 children. And yet I'm here.
But not accepting that.
I'm here.
But not accepting.
And the only time I come to anybody's house is when it gets to the point where they need help. So everything you've been doing for the last 15 years has not been working.
That's me.
So it's time now to do a 180. Let me explain to you guys what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. And
take a look at your life on the outside. It's really hard. It is hard to advise somebody when they're stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
Right?
Honestly, that's why I give up. Unless somebody asks me a question, if they ask me, I can answer. But actually, it's not every way, but some certain area closer to us here, when you give advice, you are extremist.
Yeah.
You are Salafi. I say, I wish I'm Salafi.
It's funny because even when I go to the masjids and I see the guys that come after the kids when they're playing basketball, and it's time for salah, and the guys come out, and the guy, whoever, comes out and starts yelling at the kids, get in here for salah, come on, what are you guys doing? And they're yelling, screaming, and I look at these brothers, and the kids are still playing ball. They're not paying attention. They're not listening. They're like, get out of here, whatever. And I look at the brother, he gets mad because they're not listening to him, and he's going to go yell at the parents because you have to teach your kids. I say, Habibi, hold on, give me 1 second. I go there, guys, hey man, let's go all pray together. Come on, we'll finish up this game. I'll play with you guys right after we're done salah. But come on. And they all come and they pray. What's the difference between what I said and what you said?
Nothing.
It's the way you said it.
There's a question here. Okay. ما هي الطريقة الصحيحة لتلقي الدعم النفسي سواء من الأهل أو المخصصين؟
Yeah, and
everyone.
It's okay. So the question is, what is the healthy way to receive psychological support, whether from family or professional?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I will say, don't seek professional help from family members.
Allah.
That's one of the things. Please don't get your family involved
because not a professional.
It's not a profession.
But they have. Okay, this is my way. Yeah. My idea is not psychology, not scientifically know about it.
It's like me counseling my own son. I can't counsel my own son.
That I can do.
But I can do. Hey, look, to my son. Look, I know I'm in this profession. I know this the issues. I know the signs. You're going through some stuff. Let me get a professional to come and help it out.
It's okay to do that.
If it was my son, but I'm not going to counsel my own son. I'm not even going to counsel my nephews. I would never be their professional counselor, or their therapist.
Nephew, yeah, because my nieces, my nephews, you call me. I give advice. They listen to it.
Advising is different than being a therapist.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I would advise my nephews. I'll advise my brothers, my sisters. Yeah. But as a therapist, as a professional, you cannot be that person to a family member. Your job as a family member, if let's say your nephew or your niece comes to you and says, Amo, I need some help. And you start to see what's going on, you start to hear what's going on. Hey, have you listen. I think you need help. You're a professional.
Yes.
Let me guide you and let me give you
I do that actually, but not everybody. I do that myself. Yeah. Something I don't know, I can so can help you with that. Actually, listen.
Yeah.
But not everybody accepting. Well, they accept. Oh, I can do it.
But that's the thing, right? We can advise as much as we want, but we can't push too hard.
There's no way. Impossible. Yeah.
And that person has to really want.
Oh yes. That they really want to change.
And that's why when I like I told you, like when I go to the house, the first question I ask is, where do you guys want to go with this? What am I here for? Am I here to help you guys stay together, or are we here to divvy up and divide each other? Like what's the purpose of my coming to this house? Because if I'm gonna try to fight for you guys to stay together, but in the back of your heads, you're thinking, no, I'm done with this person, then don't make me waste my time. Let's talk about how to do things in a good way.
This you remind me with Prophet Mohammed. Mohammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Mohammed Ziedeh. You remind with him, mashallah. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He grew up in Mecca. He born in Mecca. And he saw all kind of mischief and bad things and killing and this and that. And he's with all family. When after he become up, Allah told him, "Isba' bima tu'mar." Give the message to everybody. وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Do the ignorant do it. Then Prophet Muhammad started to change the situation of Mecca, not to live in the situation of Mecca. Change the whole situation. But in the same time, a few people believe in him. That's why he left to Medina. That means our example, Muhammad always sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in this situation, Brother Muhammad, Ziedeh, yes, brother, we can't change. I cannot change the situation, but go to the area to change. Change.
And sometimes it takes you leaving the situation, right? Let's say there's a problem with husbands and wives and kids. It's okay to say, hey, listen, maybe if we take you out of the equation, out of the situation for a week or 2 weeks, give yourself a breather, catch your breath a little bit, because there's so much tension right now. We need to deflate the situation, right? And so we need to de-escalate what's going on. You can't think straight if you're angry. You can't think straight if you're feeling, if you're mad, if you're you can't do anything proper if your feelings are too hurt.
Sometimes, Brother Muhammad, the divorce is a solution. Not all of the divorce is bad things. Sometimes divorce is a make solution to make a strong family.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, not always divorce is a disaster. No. I saw some family divorce, and both families become very great families. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's not what we advertise. too much because the younger generation that are getting married now, they divorce in a year or 2 years. They're I don't like it anymore. I'm going to divorce. I mean that's the new thing now, where it's become a normal.
That the problem with all my respect, everybody when I get married, I give advice. Understand why you want to get married first.
Yeah.
Some people, because I love her, I love him. They love each other. But the key, there is no plan.
There's no plan.
Any marriage without a plan, it's hard to live as a husband, wife, and family.
Or the first question you ask is, "What's your expectations?"
Exactly.
Like, what do you when you think of marriage? What do you think? Like, what's your idea of a marriage?
A lot of people young. I love her. Sex, nothing else.
Or she's pretty.
Both of them. He's handsome. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But sometimes actually beautiful with the makeup and this. Yeah. If she wash her face, disaster.
They look like us.
Like us. Like you. I mean, just like Allah. Okay, now. Of course, we are Muslims. Alhamdulillah. Because a lot of people, that's very important here. A lot of people got me, an iman with our religion. Oh, he have a jinn. He have a jinn.
That's the first thing people go.
This is what happened recently. You visit them. But that jinn, have a sihr, magic. But it's not always magic, not always sihr. Sometimes God also. If I believe he's have a magic, you give me the magic to
come to
yourself.
Yeah, you put it on yourself.
Yes. But the problem. So how to solve this kind of problems? Come to you. Oh, they have a sihr. They have magic. It's something happening with the shaitan
or something. It's amazing because a lot of people use that as an excuse for what's happening in their house.
That's excellent.
We use that.
They make excuse.
They make that the excuse of why things are happening. They don't want to admit that they have a problem, so they're trying to put the blame on something else.
That means not magic.
No, it's them. It's you. And so okay. So I'll tell you.
It's very important.
When I walk into these homes and I'll say like, you can feel it. And I walk in and they'll say, yeah, you feel that, right? You feel the shaitan. No, I don't feel shaitan. I feel anger. Or I
see tension.
Yeah, the tension. Yeah. And I say, I don't feel that. I just feel like there's so much tension. What happened? What's happening here? And, I throw that out the window. You can't give me that excuse. There's no excuses. I don't do that stuff. I don't play that game. Let's find out what the situation is. And then I'm going to tell you what my evaluation is.
That is the solution. That is the treatment here.
Yeah, and that's a treatment. That's therapeutic. It doesn't matter Islam or not Muslim or not Muslim, because we're all going through the same situation.
Yeah, but of course, me as a sheikh, I make ruqya. I love the situation. Yes, sometimes I see the person. Yes, he have magic. Sometimes I see he have a message that touched by the shaitan. But not all the cases. Especially when I meet the Quran, especially when I see a person, yes, you have a magic, or something with the shaitan touch the person. When I read the Quran, sometimes the Quran cannot even pronounce it. But I read, sometimes the person move and shake. Yes, but not all the cases.
Not all the cases. And that's rare. Right, it's not.
Yes, that a lot of cases come to me because I know the situation.
Yeah, because you do that. You deal with that.
Yeah, I do it, and it's scary. Yeah. That's why also when I make a cupping hijab, when I make the cupping, I see the blood.
Yeah.
And sometimes sleep.
Yeah.
That is more scary.
Yeah, of course.
But that's rare.
Yeah. And you keep that to yourself because I don't want to hear that when that happens.
Yeah. So also. ما هي النصيحة التي توجهها لمن يخجل من طلب الشهادة? What is the advice you give the person who feels shy? He have a problem, but he feels shy about it.
So, if you love your family,
if you love
your family,
everybody loves their family. Muhammad.
Yeah. Well, if you love your family and you see your family going down the wrong path,
Allah.
Right? And you feel that there's something going wrong.
You
feel it as a dad, as a father,
and you see it.
And you see it as a parent. You can see it. You can sense what's going on. Right? Our kids aren't born angry. They're not born drug addicts. They're not born this way. It's a learned behavior that's taught through. It's when they have no choice or when they have no say.
So that's something in the accumulation in their life.
It's an accumulating thing that's coming through years.
Appear now,
and now you're seeing it, but don't wait until it's too late.
Allah.
Right? And then
hold on, just repeat it again, Brother Muhammad.
And that's something that happens a lot. Don't wait until it's too late.
Yes.
You want a professional person to come in and, hey, listen, I know I'm a guy, I'm a man, I'm a Muslim, but something's going on in my house and I don't know what's going on. Can you help me? Right? Admit that you need some help.
Admit that you need help.
It's a strength. It's a man saying, look, man, I've tried everything and nothing's working. I need somebody to come in here, take a look at my situation and see what I'm doing wrong. And then when you're given that feedback, when somebody's giving you feedback on what you're doing wrong, what you can do better, how you can change your life, how you can make your kids better, take that advice, take that recommendations and run with it.
Over watching us, brother, in social media here, if they don't have a person like you are, mashallah, in our area, and mashallah, you're helping a lot of people. I see that.
Right.
But some area didn't have this. So you can do that online, for example.
You can always go online. And remember, we talked about summer camps back, a couple weeks ago. How the communities, how your cities, how your local, there's a lot of nonprofits in any place you go to, and I'm pretty sure even I was looking into places like Nigeria and stuff like that, and how they have community centers in these countries. You have a community center. I'm pretty sure you have a YMCA or a community center
in America,
and anywhere, in any country.
Actually, yeah, you're right with that. Even the Middle East. I would visit. Yeah, I would. Yeah, this. I would Malaysia. This. Yeah, I agree with.
But most countries, if not all the countries, you're gonna have a community center or a masjid that has people who
be involved.
You gotta get involved. You can't tell me. And let me just really say this real quick, because I know we have a little bit of time left.
Really?
Yeah,
we're up. I didn't even notice the time.
We're running late. But so let me say this real quick. Don't be that person that only comes to the masjid when you need help.
Repeat it again loud to everyone, please.
Okay. Please. Don't be that person, that family, that only comes to the masjid when you need help. You want the people of the masjid to know who you are.
Yes.
You want the people of the masjid to say, hey, Dremali didn't come to the masjid today. What's going on? He's always at the masjid for Fajr. Is everything okay? Let's call. Somebody call Brother Dremali and see what's going on with it.
We do in our community, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Like don't wait till the last minute.
That is our topic. Do not wait.
Do not wait.
Find someone as soon as possible. Before we finish, I don't know the time actually. I have a lot of things, Brother Muhammad. Hold on. Inshallah, if we're still alive until this next week, we're going to continue this question. Could have a lot of questions, Brother Muhammad, inshallah. But if people online now, Sunnahfollowers, especially Sunnahfollowers, they want to contact, to speak with you and seek help from you online, in the phone. Can you do that, or FaceTime, or Zoom? Can you help?
There's a lot, right? And there's a lot of people who need a lot of help. And I don't mind. I know Sister Layla, she's always available to give out,
yes, mashallah, yeah,
my number, and through she gives it, she'll send me messages saying, hey brother, this person needs help, or you do the same thing. Hey, we need help, with this person, that person. I don't mind helping as much as I can help, but I'm only one person.
Indeed,
right?
Then
so your
goal,
your goal as a person for whatever country you're in is to find out which masjid is closest to you and which masjid has the same values you have.
That means there is no shame to ask.
There's no shame.
Number one. No shame also to seek help. And don't forget, Allah said, Surah Al-Ma'idah, second ayah, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. Help each other by the fear of Allah. We love to help. And that's why this kind of topic is very important topic, brother and sister. I know I can say I can first time since Brother Muhammad came, run fast. We have a lot of questions, but inshallah,
it's a very deep topic.
Indeed. Right? So inshallah, prepare your question. Have a question to join us next week, inshallah.
Then the emails.
And since Sister Layla in Florida, she's afraid of the alligator.
Inshallah.
So don't worry, Sister Layla. We're gonna help you with that. If there's an alligator to the area, we know how to kill the.
We'll take care of it.
We slaughter it, inshallah. And we're gonna eat this alligator, inshallah. Halal to eat.
But this is a very deep topic.
Yes,
and
we'll continue بإذن تعالى next week. I know we're gonna have no question now because the time is fast. But may Allah guide us, and Brother Muhammad I really appreciate this kind of topic. And actually, he texted me this. I Google it more, and honestly, I read since the whole time. Now we'll read and try to have the kind of question for you all, not only for GPT actually. I asked something for my actually with my people, my community here, and people online. May Allah guide us to write that, brother and sister, bless you all, and may Allah guide us all with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jannatin Na'im. Ameen.